What's up, guys? Welcome to the channel. Channel actually doesn't even have a name yet, but by the time you guys see this, it probably will. So today we're working on this tractor here that I just bought. This is a 57 Minneapolis 445. It's got brand new rubbers on the back and the front. It's got some wheel weights on the inside. It's got 3 sets of wheel weights. Number 100 pounds a piece. Only gave $2,000 for it. So needs a little bit of work, but I kind of figured between the tires and the weights, it's probably got about $2,500 just in value there. So needs a power wash. She's pretty dirty. The guy I bought it from said he never worked on it. All he did was use it around his farm. So today I want to get the hood off it, get the side panels off of it, pull the carb off. We're going to be replacing the intake and the exhaust manifold. So it's been repaired a couple times already. Exhaust manifold's cracked real bad. Because of all that, it doesn't really want to run very well, just because it's sucking in so much air after the carburetor. So I already got new manifolds on the way. Got a couple of parts from the guy for the carburetor. He said he already went through it, but I'll probably go back to it again myself. So probably not gonna be able to set you guys up on a time lapse or nothing like that. I don't have any equipment really to set my phone up, but I'll check back in once we get the hood and the side panels off, and we'll go from there. All right, guys, so got the hood and the side covers off. So only had one bolt that was stubborn. Surprisingly, they all actually came out pretty good. Only had one stubborn one, so we had to break out the slice and dice and show that puppy who was boss. So turned off the fuel. So I mentioned that the previous owner claimed to have just gone through the carburetor. I seen some fuel on the ground. Carburetor's all wet, so I got the fuel shut off. So we're gonna pull that off, get the carburetor off of it. Another thing I need to do is investigate the starter a little bit. So the reason that the guy was selling it kind of cheap is the Bendix went out on the starter. So he sent me the parts. He had already ordered them. So I got the Bendix in there, and that's working fine now. But this little positive stud here is supposed to have a switch on it. This guy right here mounts on there. It needs to be at 12 o'clock in order for the pull lever to hook up. So I don't know if the starter's not right. I put it back together the exact way that it came apart. There's little pins in here that index it, along with this bolt here. There's different holes in the housing to index that starter where it needs to go. So I'm gonna look at that, see if it can be indexed any other way to make it right. If not, I think I'm just gonna turn this up to where I want it, pull this bolt out, I'll mark it with a Sharpie, and we'll just drill a new hole. That way it's correct where we want it. So I'm also gonna rewire the whole tractor. So these battery terminals, junk. If you use clamp-on terminals for any project you care about, just don't do it anymore. Those things suck. And these ones are made out of lead, so they're super soft. I mean, you can bend them by hand. Someone also did this. I bolted these together because that switch wasn't working, so that's part of me wanting to rewire it. But the other part is this big terminal here for probably a 2-gauge wire with a 16-gauge wire in it. Don't do that either. So we'll get this carburetor off here. I'll probably pull a starter off just because it needs to come off anyways, get it out of the way. And then we'll look at this intake and exhaust manifold. These bolts look like they might be a pain, so we'll try a little bit of impacting first, but probably gonna have to break out some heat. So let's get after it. Just want to show you guys something real quick. This fuel hose, number one, this line isn't even the same size as fitting. Look at where that lines up. This is the piece of hose that was on there. So once again, don't do that. Well, guys, we are winning big time. So it was one of those things where the bolts are rusted down enough that the standard doesn't want to fit it. So these are 11/16, but 11/16 real sloppy. So you try a 5/8, doesn't fit. So what do you know? We tried out the metric set from overseas, and We had a 17 and an 18, I believe is what ended up working for us. So 3 of them were good with an 18, one of them was 17. So if we check this thing out, we're loose, folks. So didn't have to use any heat, surprisingly enough. We put some PV on them and put the wrenches on them, back and forth. This worked it real easy, and they pop free. So I'm gonna pull these guys the rest of the way out, and I'll get back to you when I get the manifolds off. Well guys, we got it off. Pulled the starter out too. So intake and exhaust is off. It was definitely leaking on 4 and 1. Looks like 2 and 3 were decent. So you can see a crack there. She's cracked all along the bottom here. The intake's cracked here. Looks like it was brazed before. I could try fixing it again, preheating it and fixing it again, but I figure it only cost me, I think, $338 to have a new intake and exhaust manifold shipped to my door with gaskets. So need to do some cleaning on this thing. She's pretty dirty. I'll vacuum what I can and clean up the big stuff. Definitely get the mounting surfaces cleaned up real good. And then after I get the new stuff back on it and running halfway decent, I can get it out the door and we'll take a power washer to it. So I got this petcock turned off on the fuel filter bowl, or on the fuel bowl, but I'm pretty sure it's leaking where it threads into the tank. So I've got a little Amazon special transfer pump. I'm gonna get as much as I can out of there, and then we'll be able to pull that fuel filter bowl, maybe fix that. But I didn't get started on this thing till about 4:30. It's 5:30 on the dot right now, so about an hour. Not bad. Already got tools cleaned up, so I'm gonna take care of this fuel. Still waiting on new parts to get here. New parts will get here tomorrow, so not sure when I'll get back over here to wrench on it. But once the parts are here, I'll get back on it and get back to you guys. What's up, guys? It's been a couple days. Our parts came in, but we're gonna hit up my buddy at the V23 YouTube channel. He's got an oven, so we're gonna preheat the manifolds, and we're gonna use the VHT flameproof paint on those. So in the meantime, I wanna pull the starter back apart and check it out. I had mentioned that it doesn't wanna position right, so I'll show you guys more about what I was talking about with the different alignment pins that are in the body, as well as this back cap here. It can only go together certain ways, so that's why I was mentioning that I might just put it where I want it and then drill a new hole. So this is what's interlocking inside the tractor. So we may just have to turn it and put a new hole where we want it in order to get this up at 12 o'clock. So we're gonna pull that apart and investigate that some more. Possibly pull the carburetor apart today. And then we're gonna get the fuel bowl off, and hopefully we can just put some thread and dope, some tape and dope on the threads there and get that to quit leaking. So I'm gonna start getting the starter apart. I think I'll start on that, and we'll see what happens with that. All right, guys, so I'm gonna try to show you as best I can what we got going on here. So I got it all torn apart. These things are super simple to pull apart, and then this little nose cone goes in the tractor here. Obviously this can only turn so far each direction because it's gonna hit your flywheel in there. So I've got it turned all the way one way right now. I got it turned as far as it'll go. So right there is our first hole. Kind of hard for you guys to see, but right there is our first hole. It lines up. Can't go any farther that way. That's our first hole. It lines up. So we keep on going, and that's it. That's the only hole that we got. So we can pull this out and we can see that's the hole we were using, and there's one up here, but it hits. We can't go that far. So if we line her up with that one, and we'll put our bolt in here just to hold it. And that kind of self-centers itself. Doesn't feel like it's quite where it wants to be yet. There we go. I think that's pretty close. So we'll put this guy in here. And right there, it's on a dowel. That's where I had it to begin with. So we move it up here, where we want it to be. We want that to be at 12 o'clock. And right there, it just sat into another stud. What I'm doing is, right there, that little guy has to line up into one of these holes on the very outside. So, you get that lined up where it needs to be right there. That's at 12 o'clock. So, let me get this pulled back off here, and I'll show you why that doesn't work. All right, so I got it back out of the tractor, and this is exactly how we want it to be. The problem is these bolts that hold this whole assembly together run down the side here, in between the windings, on both sides, and there's no other option. They can't go here. Because, well, one, that side's too tight to even do it, and then on this side you got this guy here. So, the issue is, see if this thing will stand up here. These are the two holes that would line up with. If you look, that's a little bit different bolt circle, and it's a different size, because that is what is holding our armature into this assembly. With these two little screws. So you put in these little screws in them holes, and they're blocked. So that's where my thought is, this starter assembly can only go together one way. You can't put together any other way. It's the only way it works. So we'll put together that way, we'll position it where we want it, mark it, and we'll just drill a new hole. I don't see any reason why that shouldn't work. Alrighty guys, another short day in the shop. We've only been here for probably 45 minutes, but we got other stuff to do tonight, so can't stick around any longer. Got the starter back together. We got it marked. I'm not sure what I want to do about this yet because these other holes are tapered for this bolt. I'm thinking I'm just going to put a standard hole through it, and I think it'd be fine. Got the carburetor back apart. I'm going to ultrasonic clean the whole thing. It's still, the inside isn't terribly dirty, but the previous owner didn't do a super great job. So no big deal. We'll get that back together. Not a ton of work done today. So I'm not really sure what we're gonna do next. Probably look at getting the carburetor and the ultrasonic cleaner and cleaned up in the meantime, and getting the manifolds painted up and ready to go back on. Are gonna have to source some new studs, so I think we can use these crossbars. These are still fine, but we'll get new nuts and studs, and that'll just make going back on a little bit easier, and it'll look a little bit nicer. So I'll get back to you guys next time. What's up, guys? It's been quite some time actually since the last clip. So oh, here comes Tex. He hears me running, or he hears me talking. Hey, Tex. Say hi. Say hi. He's been keeping guard watch outside for the last few hours that we've been here. So since the last clip I took, we since got the intake exhaust manifold all done up by my buddy at the V23 garage. Brandon is his name. So he got everything high temp painted for me. I made new stainless steel studs, got some high temp gasket maker on these guys because I didn't know this until I read about this from the manufacturer. Moline didn't put a gasket in here. It was just a machine finish that made it up, but I wanted something a little bit better than that. So I put some stuff on there. I completely redid the carburetor. So it's all painted up nice, all new stuff inside. I bought the full rebuild kit. The choke clamp screw is stripped out, so I drilled that the next size up, tapped it for a 1024. Since the last clip, I also bought another tractor just for the parts. I only paid $200 for it. Had to go up by Lansing, Michigan to get it. So I was able to steal the nose cone off the starter, so I had the whole starter disassembled. This is the nose cone that came off of my tractor here. And I was able to use the nose cone off the parts tractor to make this one work right. So now we got our stud at the 12 o'clock position. So that's all in, that's great. There's a lot of stuff that I touched on earlier in the video that I can't remember because I was in Florida all last week. So it's been a while since I had the camera out. So I'm trying to think of what all's been done. So this fuel petcock, or the fuel bowl, I also completely rebuilt that. I put a new screen pickup on it inside the tank. I've got fuel inside the tank right now and it's not leaking a drop. Had to get a new bowl gasket. The petcock stem was a little bit bent, so it wasn't opening and closing correctly, so I got it straightened out. And I was able to tighten up the packing on the petcock so it doesn't leak anymore. I don't know if I had mentioned it when I had first got it, but the whoever installed the alternator, I don't know what was going on, but there's 2 bolts down here at the pivot, and there's one up here at your adjuster. They were missing the bolt here, and they were missing the bolt on the back of your pivot point here. And they had this alternator jammed up against the head here, and it was kind of angled because it only had 1 bolt in it. And they must have rolled the V-belt on, and it worked like that. I don't know. It worked, but it wasn't right. So I've now got 2 bolts back in there. I got a bolt up here so that we can run that guy in and out now. Nobody in town carries 3/8 V-belts. I was able to get a 50 from Advanced Auto, and I was able to get, this one was like 53.5 or something. Yeah, 53 1/8. So I was able to get a 50 and a 53 1/8 between 2 different parts stores in town that were in stock. And of course the 50 is too short, 53 is too long. So I knew I needed between about a 50 and a 52, but nobody had a 52. The only thing I could find was a 50 and a 53. So I tried them, not gonna work. So I think I'm gonna go online and order a 50, I'm gonna order a 51 and a 52-inch belt, and we'll use which one works, return another one. So a lot of just small stuff has happened since the last time I got behind the camera. You guys remember beginning of the video, this is the fuel line that came off the tractor with a piece of hose that was way too big and clamps and just all finagled together. So parts tractor came in clutch. I was able to get the line off of it that has a flare on each end. This flare here is cracked, but that's okay because we still have 1 flare on our old line. So I'm gonna cut the flare off. We'll put this nut, the flare isn't cracked, sorry. The flare nut is cracked. So we'll cut the flare off, get that nut off, put that one on there, we'll reflare it. And then we'll have, as you can see, I already got the flare fitting there and on the fuel bowl. So the fuel system will be good. We've already got the throttle hooked up, chokes hooked up. I haven't done anything with the electrical wiring on it. That's all to come, but I'm trying to wrap up this video because it just, to me, it just keeps on going around because it's been a while since I bought the tractor and started videoing because we went on vacation, just all sorts of crap. So I feel like I'm rambling now. I think I touched on most of touched on most of the stuff that I've done since the last time. So yeah, fuel system's done other than the fuel line. I'm gonna get a different starter switch because this one just isn't making contact with our little contact here. I don't know if I need one that plunges just a little bit farther or what's going on with that. We can still just jump it like I was before. For the meantime, before, you know, this is still all the crappy stuff I'm kind of redoing. So we'll just tap that guy on there. That's what we were doing before, just to get it running. Because with the hood and side panels off, I want to get it running, get it outside so I can power wash this sucker. It's dirty. And then we can start doing all the small stuff like electrical, battery cables, battery box or tray, the starter switch, and we'll actually make stuff right. You know, this plate right here is super worn out. So I'm gonna run up to the parts tractor. I'll see if it's got a new one of those because that just bolts on and we'll get a new one of those put on it. So we can do all that small stuff later. So hopefully the next time you guys see me coming around on the next clip, I'm not sure if it's gonna be tomorrow, or it probably won't be tomorrow because I gotta get a V-belt. So once I get a V-belt and we can get this thing running on its own power, is probably next time I'll pull out the camera, and hopefully you guys will see it running. Once we get it running, I think we'll probably wrap this video up, and then I'll come back with some of the smaller stuff later on. So 8 o'clock, I've been here since probably like 4:30, I bet. Made some trips in town for stuff and went and got the dog and this and that, so we wasted a couple minutes here and there, but yeah, I'll get some belts ordered. We'll get that figured out, and we'll get our fuel line on, and she'll be ready to fire up. So I'll get back with you guys when we get this sucker running.
You got the vacuum.
All right, guys, so I just got done driving around for a little bit. Runs great. Needs a little bit of adjustment on the carburetor, but other than that, she runs pretty good. So I think that's gonna pretty well wrap up this video. We did some laps around the shop here. I went through all the gears, put the TA up and down every gear, and ran the hydraulics up and down, 3-point, all of it. It all works. So I've even got an oil pressure gauge that works and a temp gauge that works. I ordered a battery disconnect switch on Amazon that has a built-in voltmeter. So I've got volts, oil pressure, and water temp. That's really all I care to have. So, yep, we just pulled her back in the shop here, and on a little bit warmer day, I'll get her outside and power wash it up real nice. And then we'll start doing the smaller stuff like wiring and getting metal put back on it and stuff like that. So thanks for watching. First video on the YouTube channel. So give it a like, comment, tell me what I did wrong, tell me what you like, and we'll try to improve on the next one. Thanks. See you.